About a year ago, I covered the upcoming Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. And I was kind of surprised to see that it's already been about a year since I did that video. I think I'm just memory holing things, I'm kind of losing track of time due to this whole pandemic nonsense. But I can't blame the coof for everything, no, it's also because Cowboy Bebop is just getting depressing. And no, I don't mean the original anime at all, even though it's not necessarily the most happy-go-lucky show of them all. I'm specifically referring to the Netflix adaptation. It kinda reminds me of Star Wars. It's fun to poke fun at and mock, but it gets very exhausting seeing things that you loved and cared about and cherished as a child getting ruined by these soulless corporate hacks with no creativity whatsoever. And yes, I know, Mando, the show's not even out yet, how are you judging it? Well, from everything that I've seen in the news, it's not looking good for the show. And I know that I'm not alone in feeling this way, and I think the showrunners also know that the fans are kind of on the fence about this, for some reasons which we're gonna cover here in just a few minutes. But what's one surefire way that they can get everybody united and excited for this show? Well, since it's Netflix, that means there is only one thing that could unite the fandom, and that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is modern day politics shoehorned into the show. Please hold your cheers and your applause. I know it's very exciting. We're gonna get into an article that I think is very interesting, and when I say interesting, terrifying, awful for the show. I'm not looking forward to this whatsoever. Before really diving into this video today, if you enjoy me and like my content and want to support me, drop a like on this video, make sure you share it, and if you're not subscribed, watch this video until the end and subscribe if I earned it. The first article that we're going to be taking a look at today is this one from Polygon. God help us. The article is titled, "The Cowboy Bebop team aims to go deeper than a simple anime remake." The headline for this article shouldn't really shock anybody. I mean, I talked about this a year ago. We knew that Netflix was going to want to put their stamp on the show, and I think for anybody directing anything, they want to make something that, yes, resembles the source material, but also they have their own influence on it. Unfortunately, in Cowboy Bebop's case, they just like the idea, the set dressing of Cowboy Bebop. I don't think that they want to be faithful to the characters, to the story, they just want the name and they like the universe. Because I mean, hey, let's face it, creating shit's hard, okay? That takes some talent. Why not just take an existing IP that has a loyal and incredibly solid fan base and just use that? I mean, why not? We're just milking it for cash. I mean, look at these Adidas shoes, for God's sakes. Not gonna lie though, they're actually kind of nice looking. If it wasn't attached to the shitty show and it was attached to the anime, I probably would buy them. And one other thing, why do they gotta put the black guy last on the poster here? They put Ein, the dog, in front of him. Come on, guys. Insensitive. And don't tell me, oh, that was the color from the original anime in the opening. No, it wasn't. He shows up in the blue one first. Yeah, there's one shot of him holding the gun in the yellow. You know I checked. I'm just kidding, it's woke Polygon. Of course they didn't do that on purpose. When marketing a show like Cowboy Bebop, there is no shortage of things that you can hone in on and really get fans excited about. The setting itself is extremely unique. It is a very interesting blend of science fiction and cowboys. You have the music of the show, which anybody knows the Cowboy Bebop opening, and episode to episode, there are just so many memorable tracks. It's one of the very few original soundtracks that I can just listen to on my way into work. You can even get into my themes about it, like you can talk about loss, you can talk about being an outsider and then finding a group that you belong with, only to have that ripped away. And I'm not a writer, I'm not some expert in marketing, this is just me coming up with things off the top of my head. Let's see what the showrunner has to say. I think anybody who's a fan of Cowboy Bebop knows that Cowboy Bebop presents a multicultural view of the future. And so you'll see elements of all cultures. It's not a dystopian world presented in the anime, it's a very beautiful imagining of a future. People are more bonded, it's a cowboy show, so they're a little violent, and people kill each other, and life is a little cheap. But the multiculturalism of the anime is what we translated to the screen as well. It's never a great sign when the first thing that you can say about your show is all about multiculturalism. And that's not to say that it's inherently a bad thing by itself, because it's not. But the thing is, Cowboy Bebop never focused in on that at all. It's almost like these people don't understand what they're adapting. They just know the buzzwords that they're supposed to talk about. What's really gonna bring in the demographic that we're trying to get? And what's that demographic? It's the race-obsessed people, the SJW types, the Yas Queen crowd. That's really what they're going for. Cowboy Bebop is so much more than this woke talking point bullshit. But again, I mean, staying faithful to the source material and keying in on things that fans love about the franchise, that's way too difficult. That takes somebody that actually gives a shit about the source material to do. That's not what we're doing with this Netflix adaptation, okay? This is new Cowboy Bebop. You better be ready for it. And if you're not ready for it, guess what? You're just a bigot and a sexist, and you need to just get out of the way of progress, okay? Now, the real worrying thing here is what they're gonna do to Jet Black, because I have a feeling that they are gonna completely fuck this guy's character up by just watering him down and turning him into this mouthpiece for woke talking points. Which would be a real shame, because Jet is an awesome character. I always looked at him like the father figure of the Bebop. And I don't want him to just spend the entire show scolding the crew members of the Bebop and sending them to their rooms for, you know, not saying BLM. The next quote reads, "Jet Black, as a black ex-cop in 2021, may have broader socio-political implications in the show, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I worry about it." There are intelligent ways to do commentary in TV shows and in film and whatever media that you're producing, but we've seen this time and time again. These showrunners, these directors and writers, they can't handle it. It always just comes across as the most ham-fisted, pandering nonsense. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is The Watchmen show. It doesn't get any more blatant than what that show did. It's like, oh, gee, I wonder what side of the political aisle they sit on. Out of all the characters that I'm worried the most about, it was Jet and Faye. Speaking of Faye, she also has a little spotlight here in this article. Let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick. Pineda has already brought the first taste of Faye's spirit to the small screen. Shortly after a batch of photos revealed the actors in costume for the first time, the actress took to Instagram to sarcastically prod fans who thought she didn't look like the part. Oh my fucking god, where have we seen this before? Actors and showrunners and people involved with these TV shows and movies shit-talking fans? Gee, I wonder who that could be reminding me of, I don't know. So what did this actress say to fans? Well, before I play that video though, I'm going to warn you, please stick with the whole thing. It's 1 minute and 13 seconds. It's gonna be very tempting to click off this video, I'm warning you now, but stick with it.
Hey guys, so as you know, our Cowboy Bebop first look dropped today, which was so exciting. And I just wanted to address a couple of things that sort of keep coming up in the comments amongst fans. First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character. 6 foot, double D size breast, 2-inch waist. You know, they looked everywhere for that woman and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. So they just went with my short ass. I know. Am I right? You know, there was talk about like, can we put Daniela in a time machine and maybe give her different parents so she has different genetic information to sort of make her look better? It proved to be too complicated. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I want to apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. You know, we tried, but doing stunts in tissue paper, things disappear, they rip. Sometimes it just got lost. Anyway, like I was saying, that original costume, they made a couple of them, but like I said, they got sort of slurped up in my various crevices, never to be retrieved again. So we needed to really build something that could withstand the test of time. So just, you know.
Well, doesn't she just seem so lovely and likable? Move over, honey, there's only room for one sarcastic smartass on this channel. But my god, what an absolutely garbage response to fans who are worried about the look of an iconic character in a show that they love. I'd just like to take a few minutes to address some points that she made in this video for the fans. This first point that she's making about fans complaining that she doesn't anatomically look like Faye from the anime. is just complete bullshit. Now, maybe there were a few idiots that were talking about her looks as an actress, as a human being, which is just stupid, where the major critiques, at least that I was seeing, was about the outfit. What Daniela here is wearing for the TV show looks nothing like Faye Valentine's costume, and Faye's costume is incredibly important to her character. Her sexuality is a very big part of Faye Valentine. She uses that sexuality to her advantage. Faye Valentine's personality just always gave off such strong femme fatale vibes to me. Huh? And her costume perfectly exemplifies that. And what we get here in this Netflix adaptation is yet another bastardized version of something. It's like they can't just do something right. But of course, as Daniela stated in this video, they couldn't just get the costume to work. That's too much work. You know, she says that they were sucked up into some of her orifices, which, okay. But then photos started surfacing of Daniela in an outfit that is pretty similar to what Faye would wear in terms of how revealing it is. Granted, it's a different color, but Anna, aka that Star Wars girl, actually did a re-edit to make it look like Faye Valentine's costume, and it was pretty damn close. Funny how that works out. Oh, I'm sorry, she did say that, you know, she had to do stunts in something more than tissue paper, so I guess we'll just ignore any female wrestler to ever exist. It's not like they're doing anything acrobatic in some sexy revealing clothing, right? That never happens. Of course, antagonizing fans can't just be done by the actors and actresses. No, it also has to be done by the platform and the promoters. One of the official Netflix accounts, Netflix Geeked, which if that name doesn't just tell you how fucking cringe this entire Twitter account is, I don't know what else to tell you. They were backing Daniela up online and they tweeted these two things out. The first tweet is just some Daniela Pineda to bless your timeline, little sparkles. And of course Daniela's wearing the actual Faye Valentine. It's kind of actually fitting. You have fake Valentine wearing the Faye Valentine t-shirt. I like it. And then you have this other incredibly desperate tweet saying Daniela Pineda is Faye Valentine. Talk about a coping tweet. Like, how much are they trying to convince themselves? It is just pathetic. I would say that Daniela is cosplaying, well, poorly cosplaying Faye Valentine. That seems to be more accurate, but you know what? Just slay, queen, slay. Speaking of cosplay, there are so many talented and incredible cosplayers that do such a phenomenal job at creating costumes faithful to the anime. Just look at some of these women. You have this company whose annual revenue in 2020 was almost $25 billion. And they can't even design a goddamn costume to be faithful to the source material. Meanwhile, you have cosplayers here who I can guarantee you, well, maybe I can't guarantee, who knows how loaded some of these people are, but I would wager that they don't have $25 billion goddamn dollars to spend on cosplay. And they are outdoing this company, running circles around them. Netflix is trying to capture the Japanese market, and they're doing so just because the US market is pretty limited, so of course they want to expand a bit. But judging by this article, they're not doing a great job, which is no surprise. Western directors, when they do these live-action adaptations, absolutely butcher the animes and mangas that they're based off of. The best example of this is when Netflix tried to do Death Note. It was just trash. Now, this article highlights what some fans are saying online about the show. Some are favorable, some are on the fence, but they say a majority of the comments are negative, and they're comments that are talking about that it looks like cheap cosplay, that it just looks off. I mean, one user here quoted was saying that they couldn't even get Spike's hair right. Fan confidence in this creative team and in this show in general doesn't seem to be that high. And you know what really doesn't help bolster the confidence of your fan base? When you have the series creator himself worried about how the show is going to do in the hands of another creative team. In an interview, Shinichiro Watanabe himself had this to say about the upcoming adaptation. I read the initial concept and provided my opinions, but I'm not sure if they will be reflected in the final product. He would go on to say, that's why I have no choice but to pray and hope that it will turn out good. Also, for Cowboy Bebop, I don't have any right to stop it. Those rights are in the hands of Sunrise, so if you have complaints, please send it to them. Now with all of this, I have no idea how there is any positive hype for this show whatsoever. And it's not like I want this show to fail. I don't want bad content. I love Cowboy Bebop and I want it to succeed. If there could be more people interested in this show for what it was, I would love that. But what we're going to get, at least from what all of this looks like, is some bastardized, watered down version. I mean, hell, they can't even put smoking in this show. How are you gonna have Cowboy Bebop when some of the most iconic scenes take place around smoking? I mean, one that comes to my mind first is when Spike is standing there on the Bebop, shirtless, and he flicks that cigarette. It's an iconic thing. Granted, not the biggest deal in the grand scheme of things, especially after everything that I just talked about, but it's like everything from the characters to the costumes to the smallest little details. It is just this PG, watered down version of what Cowboy Bebop is. My prediction for this show is it's gonna come out and it's not gonna be that great. We're gonna see fans complaining about it online. We're gonna have a ton of articles written about the sexist, racist, misogynist fans that just don't like this show because it has an Asian lead, it's got a black guy in it, it's got this girl in it, and that's why you hate the show, completely disregarding that people just want to see the real Cowboy Bebop. But hey, if it was up to me, this show wouldn't exist in the first place. Leave the anime alone. Let's stop remaking things and ruining them, okay? Let's just leave it be, let it be the masterpiece that it is. Go on and make your own thing. No one's gonna give a shit when you run that into the ground. That's what I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I want to know what you think about all of this. I know I unloaded a ton of information on you. Are you excited for Cowboy Bebop? Let me know down in the comment sections below. As always, if you like the video, don't forget to drop a like, and if you really want to support this channel, share this video around. It is the best way that you can help this channel out. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, make sure you turn on all notifications so you don't miss a single Metal Gear Mando video that you so desperately need. Before we go, I want to give a massive shout out to all of my badass channel members. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, stay metal, and I will see you in the next video.